Hello there, English speakers, all you very many new ones. Today we'll try a little bit theater. Here you have the character. I have a long hair and not so orange face, but I will play Trump. And here, I know that you think it's not a fitting role for her, but Pike will play CNN. She's way more cute than they are, but we will try it out here. So, CNN, we have a press conference here where it's totally bananas. Do you want to cover it? Do you want to cover a press conference that's totally bananas? Hello? CNN? Not interested? Okay, CNN, it turns out that Cindy Powell is not a part of the Trump team, so she's not hired by Trump or the States. Are you somewhat interested now? Are you? Are you interested? Yes. Oh, yummy. So yeah, that's what's happening. We'll explain it after taking a big deep breath. So, media, if you know anything about media, if they cover something, even if they say it's totally bullshit, all this lawsuit about the Trump election, if they cover them, people will still think that's something there as they cover them. So they can't cover them at all and are not interested in a press conference, even if it's bananas. So they don't cover it and don't talk about it at all and pretend like this doesn't exist. And if you know anything about Cindy Powell, which you don't know if you are following CNN only, she is working on behalf of the people and is suing in, for example, Georgia. And she's not working for Trump directly. She's not hired by Trump, and she's not hired by the White House, and she's not hired by Republicans. She's hired by a lot of people who are suing Georgia. So Trump goes out with this press release, or the White House, that she's not hired by him, which is just a fact, and nothing has changed anything here. And now that is like dingling a candy in front of CNN and the other hags in the media. Oh, there's a fight in the Trump legal team. It's a fight. Oh, they are bad. We shouldn't talk about this. Someone said we shouldn't talk about. There's a fight in the Trump team. Yeah! And now they're reporting it all over. Trump fire, crazy Cindy Powell, tentacle lady with Kraken on steroids now. So yeah, now they are reporting about it, and Trump does this every time. When media doesn't talk about something that he wants them to talk about, yeah, media has no chance whatsoever. It's like asking a dog to not to take a bite. And yeah, for a while maybe, if you have a very good dog, well, she's a very good dog of course, but she's not obedient, to say the least. It's not my dog, so I just walk her. She's the cutest one in the world, and there's a special video about where I talk more about her. So great way of Trump to steering media in the right direction, and yeah, they are still working together of course, because it's the same goal to expose and make lawsuits against the people who have been cheating in this election. So for you in the USA, that I apparently have thousands and thousands of you now, and they are increasing with thousands every I don't know, hours. So welcome. I usually do these videos for people outside of the USA, but you seem to like them, so Dr. Shiva have been sinking his teeth into this fraud, and it's not the Dominion system or the central counting that's the problem. That's not where the election fraud is happening. That upper layer is only to give guidance to the people who cheat on the local level, so that they can print extra ballots, so that they can throw away some ballots, and it still looks okay. That's the reason for, and so that they can produce results in live time to New York Times, and that went great until it didn't, and now they have found a lot of problems in this live reporting that they had during the election night. So they are exposing the software, but it's not the software that's doing the actual cheating. It's just telling people on the ground how to actually do this. And one thing to find out if there's a problem is that you send an email to your local I think secretary of something, I don't remember the title, to your local authorities, and he explains exactly how to do it. There's a link down below here. You send an email, you cut and paste, I want this information about, first of all, the people who have voted. You get a list where their names and where they live, all of them who have voted. So that's amazingly a lot of information, but you get everyone who voted in your district. And then you ask them for how many votes did each candidate get, and there is also included blank ballots and ballots that are just wrong. Example, if they are selected many candidates, then it's just a throwaway ballot, but they are still counted. And then it turns out that most places might have more votes than voters, and then something is obviously wrong. Someone took a bunch of ballots that they have created themselves and put it in the big pile that then the machines were counting correctly, and you get a very bad result. That's not correct. We are having some theories about that this has been happening in Sweden too, not everywhere but in some places, and that they also use this central system to make sure that the local cheaters, they need to know so that they don't suddenly, like in Detroit, have more. He really wants to go somewhere, I don't know why. If you suddenly have more votes than there are people in the district, that's a little bit too obvious. So having more votes than voters, as long as no one checks, and people don't do that. But generally you want to cheat in a smart way. You want to burn some ballots and put in some other ballots. So it's extremely important that you watch your local election, regardless of where in the world you are, and see you have these big boxes where they put the votes. Make sure that they are empty before the election, and after the election, when they count them, make sure that people who count them don't have some extra in their pockets and don't throw away some other ballots. You have to watch them like a hawk all the time, or they will cheat. Putin says US election is not final yet, so he says, I will not congratulate Joe Biden. And they ask him the nice question, can't this hurt your relationship with USA? And Putin answers, no, that's not a thing. It's as bad as it can be, so I don't worry about that. He's quite frank, which I like. some other people don't. The problem is that he's not very good at, what should I say, Western propaganda. And of course, Western propaganda is very good against him. And then you can think what you want about him otherwise. But some say he's a little bit autistic. And if you don't want to be that, you can read all about how you should eat. Yesterday's video. Candace Owens, if you are not from USA, you might not know her, but she is a very hot lady, black and outspoken conservative. She is now suing Facebook for all their warnings about anything that's sort of pro-Trump and so on. Facebook have been, or Joe Biden, have been removing the title President-elect from Joe Biden. He's still President-elect on Twitter, this last I checked. But not very interesting actually. It's the voter fraud that is a big thing. Go down and, if you live in the USA, go down and do as Dr. Shiva says, so that you can know that your local election actually was done right or wrong. Masks Forever. Nice series. I have posted one of the comics before, but they do a very good argument. If we have to wear masks now, when will we stop? Because the pandemic is basically over and it's winding down. There will still be people dying from this virus in combination with bad health and malnutrition. It will continue, and we have had the same problem with 4 other coronaviruses forever. People die, and yes, they get sick for ages due to other viruses that are similar too. So it's nothing unique. The only thing that's unique with COVID is that it comes all at once, like in a big wave, so that you can see it in the hospitals. But the hospitals have been flooded with people who are suffering from post-damage after a virus infection. The problem is not when people are sick with the virus. The problem comes afterwards, when the immune system doesn't work that well. In Sweden now, actually, they had finally on our biggest non-state TV, TV4, they had an expert talking about vitamin D. He did recommend 2,000 international units per day. I recommend 4,000. But otherwise, very good, and he explained how I could have done it better, of course. But he has done the research, and he mentioned this very important thing. You need to eat up to 40,000 international units per day for months before it becomes even remotely toxic. I will talk more about vitamin D later. There will be, I hope, if I have time, a Rumble only video about COVID. It means I will post all videos to YouTube, so if you just want to follow me on YouTube, that's great. But this video I can't post on YouTube because they will ban me because of what it's about. Here in Sweden, for the first time in 200 years, we have got a master craftsman in armor building. So that's great. Now people can actually go out in the streets and not be robbed so easily. So if you want to buy an armor, there is now a certified armor maker for medieval armor in Sweden for the first time in 200 years. I want to follow up a little bit. really like all your thousands and thousands of comments, and I will try to read them all. But I'm a little bit behind, and I haven't even read my birthday wishes on Facebook. So I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but keep comment and stuff. I spoke like a raid on the main government central building, Regeringskansliet in Swedish, so where the central government have their administrative staff, and they got a lot of computers and computer equipment stolen. So it's not like a raid where US Special Forces comes in and kick down the door and steal stuff. And it's not exactly a burglary, maybe it was, but probably not. It was an insider who were stealing this stuff. And if that person can steal stuff, he can also put in some USB drives, change the hard disks and load some special operating system that has some backdoors and so on, and spy on the Swedish government. What have the Swedish government done? Maybe not so much about the US election and fraud there, but after these computers were exposed in the media for being stolen, there were some bombings in Syria where they bombed Iranian assets. Sweden have had, during this government and the government before, when Carl Bildt, member of the Atlantic Council and famous swamp creature, he has been involved in every crisis that never gets solved. So he was the foreign minister before, and he and the current government have very good relationship with the Iranian government, and Iran has been sending Afghan drug dealers, basically. So drug dealers in Iran that have parents that came from Afghanistan a long time ago, but they are born in Iran, in refugee camps and stuff like that. So Iran wants to get rid of them, so they said, we put them on airplanes without any checks whatsoever, and they smuggle them to Sweden, and in Sweden we give them a lot of money so that they can sell drugs on our high schools. So that's how that works. But this stealing of computer equipments in the Swedish government reminds me a lot about this story about Imran Awan. Read Daily Caller or George Webb if you want to learn more about this, but it was basically a Pakistani spy that were working for the Democrats in the House for years and years, and he was sending terabytes of information to Pakistan about all the secrets and other stuff. He was a very bad person in general and was threatening his stepmother and doing crimes and going out on very expensive party nights and so on. He has been returned to Pakistan, I think, and he's no longer there. Finally, some news about something that I will try to pronounce. We say joint pain. Rheumatic arthritis. I looked through some videos from Dr. Erik Berg. He's a little bit speculative medical doctor, I would say. I prefer Barry, Ken D. Barry, MD, that I usually link to. But Dr. Erik Berg is very good, and he makes really short videos. So if you're English, just look at his videos about, if you have some joint pain. It's about potassium, basically. Potassium, I recommend that you use potassium rich salt. Gives you some extra boost. And finally, if you like my videos and maybe you don't like YouTube or something like that, and you can't get this Rumble app to work perfectly, I had some problem with it trying to watch something in my bed, and every time I turn the phone it jumps to another place in the video. Quite annoying. But if you want to take my videos and the description and copy them to Facebook or to Minds or Vimeo or BitChute or whatever, you're free to copy this. It's nice if you link back to me so that people know where the channel or the content come from. But please spread it, and of course you can also spread the link to this video. And I hope I will have time. I've been offered a post-birthday sauna tonight, so we'll see if I can do the video on Rumble only. It's a little bit scary, or actually it's really good news for you. Scary for other people, and scary how much they are lying to you. So with that, take it easy like the dog, and I'll be back tomorrow a little bit more tired, I think.